Shalom, shalom, Shabbat shalom. I hope everyone is well. I hope you're here because you're like me. You see, those lyrics I just started to write, I could hear someone other than myself, because you don't want me singing anything. Trust me. My voice is for knocking old ladies out at best when they're tired at night. But a person that has a nice voice singing, "Light my lamp, mama, can't you see?" And someone in the background, "Light my light, mama, ooh, baby, light that light for me." Yeah. Without the light, we would be blind imbeciles, which most are. But those who do use the only light available to light their feet as they walk down this path, they see that without this light, they would be helpless. They'd have no idea if the next step they take is going to cause a branch to be jammed in their eye, to fall off a cliff, step in a bear trap, or a bear den. I don't know who you think you are, anyone who claims they're not afraid of the dark. Yeah, I'm not afraid of the dark like a little kid, but if you drop me off in the middle of nowhere and the moon's not out and it's just black as can be, I'm not gonna like it too much, and I don't care who you are, who you think you are. If you say you don't mind it, you're lying. We'll let you walk like that through some woods for 50, 100 yards and then turn the lights on for you and tell me which one you like best. These people out here, they're so blind. Today, some major things happened in my life. But most people wouldn't even have recognized it, even if they were right beside me. But some things happened. And me and my son, towards the evening, pulled into this store, and some Amish man and his son were walking out of that store, and I was at the back of my truck with my son, and they had to walk right past me, and they stopped, probably to just be nosy, just to shoot the shit with me, whatever, and they said hi and whatever, and they were wondering what we were doing, because I had some limbs in the back of the truck, and he mentioned something about, "Oh, I'm doing some tree work or something, huh?" And I said, "Yep." And he could have just kept walking to his horse and buggy and left, you know. When he was walking by, I nodded at him and said hi politely, and he did the same. But he chose to stick around. He went a little bit further and looked at the back of the truck and at me, and he said, "Well, what are you doing? You know, you guys doing some tree work?" And I told him what we were doing, that we were just driving through there, and the opportunity arose to esteem the Most High. I was visited by the Most High. I looked up and I said, "Do you guys know God's name? You know the name of God?" And at first they were like wondering if I was asking them for directions or something like that. He looked at the boy was a teenager, and he looked back at his dad, and they were like, the dad said, Jesus? God? I don't know. Just like that. And I said, well, no, you don't know their name? You don't know God's name? He said, well, what is it? Is it Jesus or God? I said, well, don't you think you ought to know the person's name that you worship, you devote your whole life to? And I looked at his clothes, and I looked over at the horse and the buggy. I said, man, you'd think if you devote your whole life to someone, you'd at least know their first name, wouldn't you? I said, well, what's your name? He said, Philip. I said, I know I wouldn't want to worship someone, Philip, if I don't know who I'm worshiping. Why would I devote anything to someone that I know nothing about? How am I going to devote my whole life to that person? And he just was. It was like the deer in the headlights on steroids. He said, well, I never thought about it like that. I said, yeah. I said, and this, you probably will need to do some research, and kind of grinned at him when I said it, to figure out. I said, but the names Lord and God, that was created and designed, weaponized to make us call on the Most High and the Messiah with abominable names. And he kind of started walking back towards his little buggy, and I said, and before he could go too far, I said, because Lord is Baal, and God, I've heard, not 100% sure, is Satan's name. I said, but the Lord is in the front of the Bible. The Bible declares that the church changed it to Lord. I said, so, but either way, do you even know what his name is? And he said, I just know God. I said, and that's a title right there. I said, Lord and God aren't even names. They're titles. I said, do you want to know what his name is? And he said, what is it? And I said, Yahuwah. That's his name. Don't get it twisted. He's the Most High, our wonderful Creator. And I don't know who y'all give esteem to, honor or glory or praise, but Abba Yahuwah, he is to get all esteem, all praise, all honor, and all glory. You devoted your whole life to someone and you don't even know his name. And he stood there scratching his head, and I could tell no one had ever said anything like that to him. And he said, that makes sense. I said, yeah. And he said, thank you, sir. And I said, hey, stay blessed, bud. I went about my business. Who knows? That seed, Abba willing, if he waters it, it could cause a whole section of Amish people to question what the word Lord means and God. But most people, I being prime, I was horrible at a lot of times of visiting. When Abba visited me and he gave me the opportunity to either esteem him or deny him or be ashamed of him, I failed that miserably many a times. I let those situations just, I let a lot of those guys just keep on walking like that Amish today. But I saw the opportunity, and today I chose to esteem the Most High. I know a lot of people who are ashamed of the Most High. They wouldn't admit to it, but they are. These religious folks, they never do take into consideration all the sacrifices those of us who, however you want to title us, Torah observant, whatever, those who want to come out of Babylon, those who are still up to their eyeballs in it, they don't see how we could have sacrificed anything to Yahuwah. But they've got no idea. They think that we're just Grinches, you know, like some monster. How could anyone want to or have an issue with Christmas? Just think of all the little children's hearts on Christmas morning. If you were to take that away from them, you mean monster, you. That's how they look at it. But those of us who are coming out or out of Babylon, they've come out of Babylon, they see the reality of that. The reality is there's no injury involved in switching to being against the holidays. No one will die if you stop celebrating Christmas. But lots of someones might live if you do stop. I saw on the news the other day, they were talking about how suicide rates skyrocket around the months of November, December, and January. And I could see that it was one of those news deals where there was 5 or 6 people sitting up at the desk, you know, talking about it. And there were several of them that they didn't understand why it was that around those months people start offing themselves. But they've seen it. They've been depressed from it. I know. They don't realize that daily I go through visitation when I could, to get along with the Joneses, I could deny Abba Yahuwah. It seems like every day down here, someone's either making an excuse for me or they're falsely accusing me. They're uncovering their heart, showing me that they don't care nothing about me, and that my esteem for Abba is, they're ashamed of it. There's no, they drawed a line in the sand on how far they'll go at esteeming the Most High a long time ago, and it wasn't much. They're not willing to do anything for him. And as a matter of fact, they don't like it. They don't like what we do for him. They have a problem with it. So on their day of visitation, they fail miserably. They take the opportunity to make the Most High smile and say, there's my boy, that's my daughter right there. He knows who her daddy is. He took that opportunity and said, we're ashamed of him right now. But on Sunday, when we're lifting our hands in praise, we'll claim that we're not. That man, that Amish man, had lived, he had to be 50 years old. His whole life was dictated by the worship of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob of that Bible. His clothes were the way they were because of it. His beard. He was riding a horse and buggy, all because of God. But he didn't even know his name. He didn't even know he had a name. Didn't care. Don't care one bit. Like a herd of cows, these people are. That don't have a clue. They're just out there chomping on grass. They've got no light to see where they're walking because they don't care. They just feel comfortable with bouncing off objects. You know, the rest of their life. Go throughout life just blind as can be. But the alternative to saying no to what the world tells us is innocent, the alternative to saying no and going along with the Joneses, which is the most deadly. It causes the most death, I'm positive, more than anything. The word says that money is the root to all evil, which is true. But those holidays, which have money, it's all about money too. Suicides, depression, divorce, murder, theft, robbery, envy. There's so many sins that can be traced back directly to the holidays. So those holidays are a root to a lot of evil as well, despicable ones. And for nothing. People will waste their whole life, and it's getting wasted in reality. The reality is that people go their whole life trying to impress their children, their neighbor, their ex, trying to show someone that they had a better Christmas that year. They drive a nicer vehicle. They have a nicer house. And not only is that a delusion, and that is them storing their treasure in hell. Not only are they doing that, but they're spitting in the Creator's face to do so, confirming where they belong. The audacity of these people to do all that. Tell the Most High off, do what he says he hates, and expect him to just let them in when it comes time. Not only that, make a nice little ride for them up into the clouds. Nice and fluffy and sparkly. No sweat. They're like these TikTok teenagers right now who demand Wi-Fi and they don't want to do anything for it. And if you don't give it to them, they act like you're abusing them. And I've seen a lot of situations where children have parents, they've chosen where they live based upon Wi-Fi and those sort of things. I don't know how many times I'm going to have to beat this dead horse when it comes to what we take with us in the coffins. But today, you know, it's class every day, but today was one of those days that I really needed what Abba gave me. I had no idea I needed it when I woke up. And it just shed more light on how detestable this world is, its ways. They'll create an image of someone who is against the paganry. They'll paint an image of that person in the public view that he or she's some sort of monster because they hate Christmas. But in reality, the monster is you who are promoting Christmas, because Christmas is a monster, and it is in opposition 100% to our Creator. And He's told us that enough times. They don't use the Torah to light their feet. And don't you offer it to them and insult them by giving it to them. That mama being my lamp, my Torah, you can light my way anytime you want. But I was going to read Ezekiel chapter 39. I think that's where we are. And I was thinking about that guy, the Amish guy. I do want to read the verse of the day, though, in context. But I wanted to read Ezekiel, but I think we should read this Job real quick. Job chapter 19, verse 25. For I know that my Redeemer lives, and as the last shall rise over the dust, and as the last shall rise over the dust. Context. And Job answered and said, how long would you grieve my life and crush me with words? These 10 times you have insulted me, shamelessly you attack me. Even if I truly gone astray, my strain remains with me. If indeed you would exalt yourselves above me and plead against me my reproach, know then that the Most High has overthrown me and has surrounded me with his net. See, I cry, violence, but I am not heard. I cry aloud, but there is no right ruling. He has fenced up my way, and I pass not over. And he has placed darkness in my path. He has stripped me of my esteem and taken the crown from my head. He breaks me down on every side, and I am gone, and uproots my expectancy like a tree. And he kindled his wrath against me, and he counts me as one of his enemies. His companions come together, and they cast up their way against me, and encamp all around my tent. He has removed my brothers far away from me, and my friends are completely estranged from me. My near ones have fallen away, and my close friends have forgotten me. The guest in my house and my female servants reckon me for a stranger. I am a foreigner in their eyes. I have called my servant, but he gives no answer. I have to beg him with my mouth. My spirit is strange to my wife, and my loving commitment to the children of my own body. Even young children have scorned me. I rise, and they speak against me. All my intimate friends loathe me, and those whom I love have turned against me. My bone clings to my skin and to my flesh, and I have escaped by the skin of my teeth. Show favor to me, show favor to me, O you my friends, for the hand of the Most High has struck me. Why do you persecute me like the Most High does, and are not satisfied with my flesh? Oh, that my words were written down. Oh, that they were inscribed in a book, engraved on a rock with an iron pen and lead forever. For I know that my Redeemer lives, and as the last shall rise over the dust, and after my skin has been struck off, then in my flesh I shall see the Most High, whom I myself shall see on my side, and not a stranger. My kidneys have failed within me. If you say, why do we persecute him? Seeing the root of the matter has been found in me. Fear the sword yourselves, for wrath brings the punishment of the sword, so that you know there is a judgment. The people that don't see the sacrifices we've made, they don't see, they weren't there to watch those you love the most act like they got no idea who you are. Because you've chose the Most High over something that will kill them. And anyone after them. Their friends, their family, their children. So your grandchildren, great-grandchildren. They don't want to associate with you because you want to do the right thing. And that means that they won't be able to do the wrong thing around you anymore. That you won't be down with it no longer. I have to choose daily. The Most High visits me, it seems like daily. He wants to know if I'm bowdy or just talking shit. Whoever hears this, if you think that you or anyone can celebrate any of the holidays or even be okay with other people celebrating them. If you think that those people who either celebrate it or they give passes to people who do, if you think for 1 second that you're not blind and you store your treasures in heaven, you're sadly mistaken. You're on the wrong side of the battlefield. Doesn't matter what you come up with in your pretty little delusional imagination. You're on that side of the battlefield, you will be treated like the enemy. An enemy gives no esteem to his enemy. If you have a problem with someone giving esteem to the Most High, you're an enemy to the Most High. If you're a friend of the Most High, all the people you know, basically, will become, if they're not already, your enemy. Abba let me know that that would be the case for me before I started to take those drastic measures. He let me know what I was choosing, what making those choices meant. He let me know before I made them just what would happen to my life. And I've told y'all before, I denied him for the first 2-3 years. Not only did I let those things happen, I went and got the Christmas tree myself and drug her home and planted her right in my own living room. And I never felt so guilty over something as I did doing that those 2 or 3 years. But I was an enemy of his until I did it. If you are okay with the enemy, then you are the enemy. And it's not, you're not overdoing something. You're not being radical if you are against the enemy of the Most High. Because the Most High, he's just against murderers, liars, thieves, adulterers. He's not against giving life, love, companionship, passion, truth. The enemy is. So how are you going to give a pass to the enemy? If someone if they're not there yet, like you often love to say, we'll help them get there. Start dropping the seeds. What those people who have, like, for an example, maybe someone commented on a post where I said Jesus is the name Hail Zeus. to anybody that stopped there and said, well, not everyone knows the name like you do. And who cares? Okay. I realize there's a lot of people that don't know the name. That's why I'm making the post. So what was that person saying? You want me to stop because there's people that aren't where I am? That's absurd. So what, am I supposed to just tuck that away, tuck the truth that that's not his name and it's an abomination? Should I just tuck it up under the rug a little while longer until everybody gets in the bus? It's ridiculous, the demands these people have. It's so sad to think about what happens on their day of visitation, what's happened on days of my visitation in the past, where I not only failed to give esteem, to rise to the occasion, to give esteem to him. Not only did I fail in doing that, I was ashamed of him at the same time. And I hid from him, didn't want nothing to do with him, because I wanted money. I wanted something evil. I wanted to impress someone who I always feel like I need to impress because they can't stand me. All that stuff people do, every time they choose to deny the Most High, they deny him for someone who don't even care, or something that won't last. They won't have that, whatever material thing it is, they won't have it come next year or tomorrow. It'll be for nothing. And if they would have chose Abba, he would have gave them so much more. And whatever he gives, it lasts. It is its actual value. The stuff you were chasing, that you chose over the Most High, has no value, no shelf life. You won't even remember it, unless you're remembering how big of an idiot you were when you chose it that day over the Most High. There could have been people with me today that would have said, man, they would have been embarrassed of me because I spoke up and I started giving esteem to the Most High. I've seen it happen too many times. I know plenty of people that if they would have been with me, they would have been ashamed. How many of you would have took the opportunity to back up what I was saying? Right now, I know the temptation to act vindictively towards people, or to just be like, the heck with it, act out of on impulse, out of anger, frustration. It's that temptation to do those things is on high right now. And if we want to be aware of our surroundings, we want to see that coming, because we want to overcome that temptation. We need to know where it's coming from, or that it even exists. And I made that video about the Cobra Vampire 1-9, or what it really is. I showed how they said they put it some of those chemicals were in there to bring out put it in there. They put it in the meat, the beef, the chicken, and the pork. They put it in water supplies. And they put it in the shots. And they stated in that the shots were most effective, and obviously so. But those of us who didn't roll up our sleeves, we still got it sprayed on top of our head. And we probably drank it in water a time or two, and probably ate it a time or two, but not a lot of times. So we need to understand that if you do have, you feel like you're being easily frustrated, things are just getting at you that you normally could handle, there's a reason that it seems a little off, a little unusual right now, that these people out here seem more cold and hazy. The last year or two I've seen people act cold in ways that I don't think I could have, that Stephen King couldn't imagine. Just heartbreaking and wrenching things. And they got no problem doing it. There's a reason that the scripture says that in those days that the love of many would wax cold. Yeah, they've wax cold because of the way society is and what Christmas and all these holidays have produced, yes, but they wanted more than that, the enemy did, so they decided to speed things up a little bit, if you will. It says that the light of the bridegroom shall be seen in them no more. That means there's no desire to do anything right in these people. If it isn't involving making money or whatever Babylon has, then they don't want anything to do with it. And they're ashamed of you if you don't want Babylon as well. The Most High blesses me abundantly at times when people think, that I'm just a wretch. They would never stoop as low to do the things that I do. I have them tell me that all the time. I've had people, everyone I know, walk out on me. They don't care anymore. When it comes down to it, because I'm not giving them anything material. No, I'm not providing any financial assistance to them in any way. But when I was, then the smoke up my rear end was thick. But because they know I will no longer stoop and do anything for them or whoever for money, they no longer come around. They want to be able to do their abominable things, and they don't want me making them feel guilty about it. And I don't make people feel guilty about anything. I want people to love and laugh and have a good time. How they end up feeling guilty is when they ask me about something that I don't do. Like if we go out to eat and they say, man, you ought to get the pepperoni. And I say, no, I'm good, I'm going to eat this. And they keep at it, and then somebody says, oh, he don't eat pork. And then now they feel guilty. And they'll say, well, make mine a triple. Throw all the pork you have on my pizza. And they look at you like you're an idiot. But eventually, they begin to feel guilty about all their lustful desires, all their gluttonous ways about them. It makes them feel guilty when you begin to step out of that prison, and that's what it is. Look at what a complex prison, what a highly sophisticated prison it is that people have made for themselves. They are completely convinced that you're a nobody if you ain't doing what kills you to the max. If you ain't like them and have sold your soul for the almighty dollar, then in their eyes you're a piece of shit. That prison was made by the enemy, and the world loves being in it, and they could walk out at any time. But see, they won't, because walking out is what losers do. You know, kind of like when someone says quitting's for losers when it's about smoking or something like that, and they'll say, yeah, quitting's for losers. It's the same way with Babylon. They won't say that, though, to you. They really do think you're a loser if you're not buried in Babylon. They think they're not in Babylon. But that truth is right there, always, just waiting for them to open up and read and see which way's right and which way's wrong. The only reason I'm telling you about my Amish experience today was because I don't want to ever again waste those kind of opportunities. I don't want to let those people just walk on by when I had an opportunity to esteem them. And I don't want y'all to either. And let me ask you this one question. What's your reason for not doing it? What would you tell me? What would you tell the Most High if he said, why didn't you go ahead and mention me right there in that moment? What's it going to be? If you say anything like, well, I was in a hurry, I'm tired, he wouldn't have understood, there ain't no excuse that you can give that's going to fly. None of them. You have no excuse. And more than likely, you chose not to esteem him because of how people felt about you. And until you realize that that is you standing on a big pile of bullshit, throwing it shovel by shovel down into Sheol, storing up your nothing in hell, Until you realize that's what's going on, you haven't stored anything in heaven. You should be ready at a moment's notice, at attention, waiting, ready to tell someone about Abba, to declare the good news to whoever. And if you happen to fail and you let someone go get in their car and you didn't tell them because you were ashamed, start yelling and flag that person down. Don't let him get out of the parking lot until you've told him his name. Because doing that is the only way we can survive. And you want me to prove to you how that is a fact right here and right now? Because if you're not willing to do that, if you wouldn't run after that car waving at him so you could tell him, or if you wouldn't let that opportunity pass you by, you would be ready, standing at attention to give esteem to the Most High. If you are someone who wants to give esteem, you woke up that morning wanting to esteem him, you're on your way. Just keep doing what you're doing, baby. Your ticket ain't punched, but you got the ticket in your hand. Just don't lose it. If you're someone who don't rise to that occasion when someone is in front of you who their ears are standing right there, you could speak Abba's name and some truth into his ear, but you chose not to because you didn't want to be, you didn't want to feel embarrassed, whatever. You ain't given all esteem. You're on your way to death. You were too full of pride. And you already know it comes right before destruction. And there's no any way you want to chop that up and look at it. There's no two ways about it. If you didn't do it, it's because you were worried more about yourself and how you looked. You ain't coming to the kingdom if that's your attitude. The only people who will come are those who will lay it all down. Their appearance is the last thing they're concerned with. Not only that, they understand the world sees them as a piece of shit, a bum. If you're worried still about what the world thinks, you need to just stop that. You're a man, just like the word says, like a wave tossed about. You claim you want to worship the Most High, but you're embarrassed to give him esteem when you can. Which is it? Which side of the battlefield are you going to be on come that day when your fight is over? You can tell the Most High that you were on the right side all you want, but he sees clearly where you are. And those of us who understand it's a battle, we see it too. We see that you were ashamed of someone giving esteem to him. And everyone over here on this side who loves Abba Yahuwah we can't shut up about him. And it doesn't matter if we got a booger in our nose. We're telling those people all about him. We don't care if our hair's messed up, if the audio isn't going to be right. If we mess something up. That's why I don't edit these videos out. If there's a mistake, I just leave it. Y'all should know I make plenty of mistakes. This is for those who aren't paying one bit of attention to those mistakes. They're here for the meat. They're here because they want to esteem the Most High. They're well aware that we all make mistakes. If I cut a mistake out of it, it's because I want to hide it from y'all. I don't want you to think I'm capable of making such mistakes. So this video would be about me. And that would prove to you that I'm trying to keep up with somebody like the Joneses. I'm not. I'm here to esteem Abba Yahuwah, the Most High. Verse 27, whom I myself shall see on my side, and not a stranger. My kidneys have failed within me. If you say, why do we persecute him, seeing the root of the matter has been found in me? Fear the sword yourselves, for wrath brings the punishment of the sword, so that you know there is a judgment. We've seen how the sword is the understanding of Abba's word. If you are slain by the sword, that means you were slain by the twisting of Abba's word. Whether knowingly or not. So this is saying right here, the wrath of the Most High comes as punishment of the sword. That twisting of the word that you do is going to be the demise of you. If you twist it, it's because you want it and yourself to fit in with where? The world. If you just let it hang and have no shame in your game, you stand at attention. You're someone like Job here, who Abba points you out. You think he's going to say, that's my girl, Cindy. Yeah, she was ashamed of me yesterday, but, you know, she does read her Bible. And, yeah, she says Lord Jesus, and they told her about it several times, but, you know, she only has time on Wednesdays for prayer reading, so she don't have a lot of time to be reading, and none of that's going to work. It's all a joke. It's a straight joke. There's no excuse. You only will survive if you only can give all esteem. If you can't only give him all esteem, bye-bye. I warned you. As for me, I'm giving all esteem. My house, we will serve the Most High. Those who come out of my house, once they're out, I can't, I'm not responsible. Although I would like to be for what they do. But me, I'm given all esteem. And unless you do, bye-bye. And you, son of man, prophesy against God, and you shall say, Thus said the Master Yahuwah, See, I am against you, O God, the Prince of Rosh, Meshach, and Tubal, and shall turn you around, and lead you on, and bring you up from the uttermost parts of the north, and bring you against the mountains of Yasharal, and shall strike the bow out of your left hand, and make the arrows fall from your right hand. On the mountains of Yasharal you shall fall, and you and all your bands and the peoples who are with you, to the birds of prey of every sort and to the beasts of the field I shall give you for food. On the face of the field you shall fall, for I have spoken, declares the Master Yahuwah. And I shall send fire upon Magog and on those who live undisturbed in the coastlands. And they shall know that I am Yahuwah. And I shall make my set-apart name known in the midst of my people Yasharal, and not let my set-apart name be profaned anymore. And the nation shall know that I am Yahuwah, the set-apart one in Yasharal. See, it shall come, and it shall be done, declares the Master Yahuwah. This is the day of which I have spoken. And those who inhabit the cities of Yasharal shall go out and set on fire and burn the weapons, both the shields and the armor, the bows and arrows, the clubs and spears, and they shall make fires with them for 7 years. And take no wood from the field, nor cut down any from the forest, for with the weapons they make fire. And they shall plunder those who plundered them, and loot those, hold on, let me back that up, verse 10. And take no wood from the field, nor cut down any from the forest, for with the weapons they make fire. So, they're making fire out of the weapons, and they shall plunder those who plundered them, and loot those who looted them, declares the Master Yahuwah. And it shall be on that day that I give Gog a place for a burial site there in Yasharal, the valley of those passing by east of the sea, and stopping those passing by, because there they shall bury Gog and all his crowd, and shall cut it off, call it the valley of Hamon-Gog. And the house of Yasharal shall bury them for 7 new moons, in order to cleanse the land. And all the people of the land shall bury them, and it shall be for a name to them on the day that I am esteemed, declares the Master Yahuwah. And they shall separate men who continually pass through the land, burying those who were passing through, those left on the surface of the ground, in order to cleanse it. At the end of the 7 new moons they shall search, and those passing through shall pass through the land, and when anyone sees a man's bone, he shall set up a sign beside it, till the buriers have buried it in the valley of Hamon-Gog. And also a city named Hamana shall be there. So they shall cleanse the land. And you, son of man, thus said the Master Yahuwah, speak to every sort of bird and to every beast of the field, assemble yourselves, and come gather from all around to my slaughtering, which I am slaughtering for you. A great slaughtering on the mountains of Yasharal, and you shall eat flesh and drink blood. Now, I'm going to pause it right there. I'm not for sure, but I may have put out a video just not too long ago where I read this chapter and broke a little of this down, broke what it means, what the name of that city, Hamana, means. And it's huge. Well, I could have put one out, or it's probably that I made a video or several attempts at a video about this that I didn't get out. But let me tell you, praise be to the Most High, I got a new phone that has plenty gigabytes on it now, So I should, Abba willing, be able to get most anything out now. It's all up to him though. But I'm going to, and if I did break this down already, well, whoop-de-doo. What are you going to do about it? Just more esteem of the Most High, just more rat-a-tat-tat, repetition, like a parrot pounding it home to y'all or whoever. And that's this truth that comes from his word alone. Before I go on, though, I want to tell you what that, well, let me show you what that name means. And before I do that, right up to that verse, he's talking about that valley, about them burying people. Do you think that this is literal? That he's really meaning that when people see a bone sticking up out of the ground, that they go set a sign there? And that, what do? They you shall eat flesh and drink blood. He's saying that the people of Yasharal are really going to drink blood. Is that what that is? No. The reason I remembered this, and you know, my life's always hectic, but it's been, you know, a little more hectic than usual, but a lot of good has come from it too. But in the middle of that, he showed me what Gog and Magog is all about, what it really means. And I'm here to tell you, and I will show you, bet your ass, it's not what you think it is. It's not what I thought it was up till a few days ago. Nope. It's not Russia or whatever you want to imagine. It's exactly what I've been talking about in this here video up till now. It's the holidays. It's the churches. It's the Lord and the Jesus and the sun and the moon and the stars. That's what it is. The land has to be cleansed from it. And if you're a watchman, when you see a bone of it sticking up, you're going to have to post up and let everyone know about it. Make sure anyone who's able comes and takes care of it. Goes and buries it so the land is cleansed. And anything left of it will be left to every sort of bird and to every beast of the field. He told the birds right here in verse 18, eat the flesh of the mighty, drink the blood of the princes of the earth, of rams and lambs, of goats and bulls, and all of them fatlings of Bashan. And you shall eat fat till you are filled, and drink blood till you are drunk, at my slaughtering which I am slaughtering for you. You think he just wants the birds to come and get drunk off blood? No, he's talking about the truth. Come. And where does fat come from? Fat is blood. And it builds up on you for multiple reasons. But it comes from blood. It's not meat. It's not cartilage. It's like a byproduct of blood. And like I said, its purposes for it's used for a lot of things. But it's still blood. And we know Abba don't want us to eat fat and drink blood. He's told us this. This is symbolic even for the birds. He's talking about any spirits, any angels, back that up, any angels or to consume it. Consume Babylon. That doesn't mean eat it. That means what I'm doing right here. Snuff it out. Expose it. Get rid of it. Cleanse the land of it. And how? How do we make that slaughtering? By eating the fat and drinking the blood. And you shall be satisfied at my table with horses and riders, with mighty men, and with all the men of battle, declares the Master Yahuwah. That's not an actual table he's talking about. This is part of that table. If you're here on all esteem, pull a chair up. Enjoy. And I shall set my esteem among the nations, and all nations shall see my judgment which I have executed, and my hand which I have laid on them. And the house of Yasharal shall know that I am Yahuwah, and I am Yahuwah, their Most High from that day onward. And the nation shall know that the house of Yasharal went into exile for their crookedness, because they have trespassed against me, so that I hid my face from them, and I gave them into the hand of their adversaries, and they all fell by the sword. Do you see? They fell by the crooked, twisted interpretation of the word. They didn't drink the blood or eat the fat. That if you drink the blood and eat the fat, you're getting the real understanding of the word. They went into exile because they were crooked. And why were they crooked? Because they trespassed against the Most High. And what happened? He hid his face from them, which caused them to be delusional. According to their uncleanness and according to their transgressions, I have dealt with them and hidden my face from them. Therefore, thus said the Master Yahuwah, now I am going to bring back the captives of Jacob. Here I am. Here you are. And I shall have compassion on all the house of Yasharal, and shall be jealous for my set-apart name. That means you are to be jealous as well. Make sure you speak up and let anyone at any time know his name, and let anyone who has a problem with it know what to do. And don't ever defend the profaning of his name or the Messiah's name, ever. It doesn't matter how far along they are, and it doesn't matter who they are, what's going on. Don't do it. And if you do, you're on the wrong side of the battlefield. And they shall have borne their shame, that shame that I was just talking about, and all their trespass they committed against me, when they dwell safely in their own land, with none to make them afraid, when I have brought them back from the peoples and gathered them out of the lands of their enemies, and I shall be set apart in them before the eyes of many nations. And they shall know that I am Yahuwah, their Most High, who sent them into exile among the nations, and then gathered them back to their own land, and left none of them behind. And no longer do I hide my face from them, for I shall have poured out my spirit on the house of Yasharal, declares the Master Yahuwah. Pouring out his spirit, that means he makes his words known to us. Who made his words known to us? The Messiah. So the Messiah coming and making us understand the Most High's word, that was him pouring out his spirit upon us. If you deny the Messiah, you have no spirit. If you think the Messiah and the Most High are one, that means you deny the Messiah and you haven't had any spirit poured out upon you. And if you think you're like a big Kool-Aid glass, and Allah just pours His spirit out into you and fills you up, tops you off, like you imagine most everything you hear in the Word. If you think it's like that, you're delusional. This flavor takes time. It don't just happen overnight. Why would you want it to? So let's go. I'm going to tell you that name. You'll see why he mentions it right here. Look, he says, he will bring you against the mountains of Yasharal. The mountains of Yasharal are the heights of us. Those who follow His word and love Him and live according to the way to the best of their ability, their mountains are things like generosity, kindness, truth, loyalty, faithfulness. So he said that he brought Magog and them against the mountains of Yasharal. Those holidays were against anything of any value. On the mountains of Yasharal you shall fall, though, because what they hate, and rightfully so, exposes them in the end and destroys them. That's why they hate it. And in that process, he says, I shall make my set-apart name known in the midst of my people, Yasharal, and not let my set-apart name be profaned anymore. If you're someone who just argues with me whenever you can, whenever you get the opportunity, because you think it's wrong for me to say that Jesus means Hail Zeus. I'm here to tell you that that is profanity, true profanity. And Abba is on a mission to eradicate any trace of it, of profanity, of his or the Messiah's name. And the fact that you can't prove that it ain't profanity, and you deny any proof I have that it is, it's proof that you just want to keep up with the Joneses. It's obvious to those who don't. We're just praying that you come out of Babylon quick before you partake in all of her plagues, and you won't be able to get out. Right here, Hamanah. Let's read the verse again, 16. And also a city named Hamanah shall be there, so they shall cleanse the land. Hamanah, multitude, prophetic name of a city near the future burial place of Gog. And we'll be able to read, as we're reading along in here, how blind and delusional these people are. The people that wrote this. Oops, I've done highlighted that part there. The symbolic name of a city in the valley of Haman Gog, near which Ezekiel 39:16 says that the forces of Gog will be defeated after their attack on Yasharal, on Israel. Okay. The rest of the story here, if I may. Let's be along. What's the name mean? That's what we need to find. A place meaning horde. Town and valley, Ham and Gog, where Israel would bury. Let's see. The exact meaning and location of the city are not clear, except that Ezekiel was determined that Israel would keep the land ritually pure. Excuse me, folks. Ritually pure in all circumstances. That's what we're talking about, see? Nearby or great horde, and thus do not mention the city. Let's see. Let's go back and look at this one here and see what it says. A name figuratively assigned to the sepulchre city of the valley in which the slaughter and burial of the forces of Gog are prophetically announced to take place. Emblematical of the multitude of graves. Well, that doesn't mean anything. But that's funny though that it's in it's basically what we've been talking about. It's been leading up because we've been reading Ezekiel. And wouldn't it be fitting, a quinky dink, that we'd be reading that around the holidays? And it's fitting for me because he gives me every day a new level of disgust with all that anyway. But like he said, he would cause them to slay on the mountains of Yasharal. So the mountains is what will kill Babylon. Anybody who chooses that side is going to kill them. But I know I had this the other day, the true definition. And this isn't it. Let's see. I know there's a Webster. Valley of the Travelers. I'll have to look at that. Metaphysical meaning multitude, noise, tumult, commotion of the mind. The prophetic name of a city that is mentioned in conjunction with Ham and Gog shall also be the name of a city. They shall cleanse the land, the great multitude of true thoughts that shall be established in man's consciousness in place of the host of error, selfish warring thoughts that are being overcome and put entirely out of existence, insofar as the individual is concerned. Yeah. What he's saying in Ezekiel when he names that town is that what values, what standards, which are created by the Torah, what the Torah stands for and creates is what the enemy Gog and Magog were after, and they so desperately want to destroy. They want to destroy him, but will actually destroy themselves. They will kill themselves with the very thing they want to destroy. And if you think about it, it's the only way it can happen. Because eventually, like myself, I wouldn't have been able to come out of Babylon if I hadn't seen the effects of it myself. If I wouldn't have seen how the children are just spoiled beyond rotten with Christmas and their birthdays. I would have never came out of it. But I see that there's nothing good that comes from it, that it only creates chaos, hate, it makes liars out of people, spoiled brats that have to have everything their way. It's created a whole culture of people. A new society, a new way to be rotten. It's molded society into a absolute garbage can, making a bunch of noise. And without those holidays, the world wouldn't be the way it is. And if you think about it, it says that they worship the host of heaven, right? We know that it's sun worship primarily. Who promotes the holidays that these people promote the most? Where are you notified that it's Easter time? Every time, like Christmas is over, next week you'll be walking to Walmart and you'll see Valentine's Day gifts right out front, right as you're walking in the door. And this is my reaction. I always say, man, Christmas just got over and we're already at another holiday, and I gotta dig deeper in my pockets. I gotta start stressing again. Who am I gonna get? What am I gonna get her? Well, what if it does this? And it's just back in the frickin' cycle again. And once you get it over with, another one pops up. Someone's birthday pops up. And you wanted to say, to heck with it, but if you're still in Babylon, you know what that means if you do that. Somebody will look at you and say, didn't you have them a birthday party? That's all you got them for their birthday? And they'll base how you feel about your child off of that one thing. Like, I know a lot of people who think I'm a straight up asshole and I hate my children and I'm a horrible dad because I don't have birthday parties for them or Christmas. That's what they think. And they got no idea that reality says that anyone who gives their children a birthday party is a horrible parent. I did it, and I seen how it made my children into spoiled little brats, and to grow up thinking that if they don't bow down and do the birthday or holiday thing, they won't be accepted into society, that they'll be, whatever. If you are unwilling to stand up for what's right and do the right thing for them by telling your children the same stuff that I'm talking about right now, knowing that society's going to think all kinds of shit about you, but if you don't do it, you're a horrible parent. What kind of parent, just like the Messiah said, gives his son a rock when he asks for an egg? If your son or daughter looks up at you and says, who made earth? Who made us? And you say, God. We celebrate his son's birthday on Christmas by doing this. You're a horrible parent. But what kind of parent says to himself, yeah, I know, I'll lose all my friends, my girlfriend, whatever. They're all going to leave me. I won't have a friend. Might not even get hired when it comes down to it. It has the potential to ruin everything. My whole life, my whole Babylonian life. What kind of parent says to that, bring it on? I'm not lying to my children and leading them down a life full of deception where they're blind and they don't know up from down just because I don't want them or anyone to think something about me. No, I'm not voting for myself because I know it's a struggle. But anyone who can say that they've done this, that they taught their children about the wicked days and they've decided to draw a line in the sand and they no longer are willing to celebrate those days, if that's you and you did that, in my book, you deserve an award for being the most excellent of parents. And don't let anyone take that away from you. And if anyone's saying that you're not because you don't do those things, don't let it bother you one bit, because reality says that they got it all wrong. They got it so twisted. You're way better of a parent the first second you tell them that Santa Claus isn't real. There's still parents out here that get pissed if you break it to one of these kids that Santa's not real. They don't care what Christmas means. They could care less what it represents. The only thing, and they'll say, well, they'll excuse all their materialistic indoctrination and the fact that they're raising their children up to be materialistic, spoiled little brats with no regard for Abba or them or whatever. They'll excuse it because they say it's time that they get to be around their families. They'll say, well, it's just a time where we can all get together. But tell me, one family where two families, whatever, get together and it's just a joyful, blissful day where it's like, they eat together all that day and they don't ever want to go home. They just stay there and just bask in one another's company all day. And they're like, man, I can't wait for next Christmas so we can do this again. I've been in plenty of homes and I've never seen the slightest sign of any of that. I've seen people looking the opposite directions from one another thinking, they'll say, man, I want to go home. I just wish this was over with. And they really hate it, and for good reason, because it's a spectacle. When you go there, you're under the magnifying glass. They're looking at you. Oh, what did you buy your kids? What'd you make to bring to the dinner? Look what she made. Oh, she's worked and slaved over this turkey and ham all night. She's been slaving. And they'll take pictures and put it on Facebook, and they'll take pictures of the tree and all the Christmas presents, and if they didn't have the money to buy but 2 or 3 Christmas presents, they would feel so ashamed. They wouldn't want to come out from underneath the covers. They'd be so ashamed if people knew that they didn't have a spectacular Christmas. And even the little kids, they witness that and they see it. And that's how they are. They've planted no seed of anything that lives in their children's minds. But if you step out and tell them the truth, even though they'll probably walk away from you for it, you did the best thing that anyone could have ever done for those children. And you probably did the one thing that you so wish your parents would have did for you. You actually sacrificed something. You laid down your humility, your pride, in order to tell your children, teach your children the truth. You were willing to lay it out all on the line and risk it for truth's sake. You didn't risk your lives for fashion's sake. Gog and Magog is what has the blinders on the people. It's the whole organization of Christmas. The church is everything. And it will die on the mountains of Yasharal. Prove me wrong, you can't, you won't. Abba willing, I'll be right there waiting, and I'll take such joy. I'll bask in just sheer excitement if I get to witness it. Can't wait till all that despicable, profane abomination is gone. And that's why I'm doing what I can to eradicate it. I hope you do too. I hope you take every opportunity you can to give all esteem on your faith.